With the Origin update coming out, I'm going to have to change a good portion of the new player progression guide. And I figured that while I'm playing through on a new account, I might as well stream it so everybody can see me play through it, because I know that's helpful for some people, seeing somebody actually play it. And I'm also going to condense it into shorter form videos. They'll still be long. It's just I won't be dropping like a 5 hour VOD or something, because that just becomes impossible to parse through for information. Like, no one's watching a 5 hour VOD. So that's what's going to be happening with the new player guide. And it's been a while since they've really meaningfully changed the new player progression. The last time was a couple of years ago when they added the web events that gave out a lot of rewards. And now they're sort of exchanging those. So now we have stuff like this. You get Issaria for free as well as Song of Stars. So you can't like troll yourself by picking the wrong unit from your selective summon. They just forcefully give her to you now. And you also don't have to waste bookmarks summoning her after if you pick the wrong unit or anything. Some stuff here, like the Path of Air. This is the Adventurer's Path for anybody who's familiar with it. This is just progression-based stuff. You play through the game and they give you a bunch of stuff. So it's in here now. And then they also have some packs. Some of these packs look interesting. Like there's a free Spectre Tenebria in here. Well, not free, but if you pay, you can get Spectre Tenebria. So there's some like passes and stuff. Beyond just that, they're also changing adventure hunts, and yeah, there's a lot of QOL. Like catalysts are getting completely reworked, and all the Hunt Expert Challenge stuff is in here now. And of course, if you're a new player watching this, this is all gibberish to you. Don't worry about it. I'll be going over everything in the new guide. But before we even get started on that, I think it's good to talk about some of the stuff I have in the introduction here, which is just the general tips, which is first up is just how should you get your information beyond just this video. So first up is the Discord. So in the Discord, we have a bunch of channels. One of them is the Guidance Grounds channel. And here is where you just ask any questions about the game if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing or want to know if what you're doing is good, that kind of stuff, or just literally anything. Just feel free to ask it in this channel. It's maintenance right now, so it's a bit dead hours, but usually you can just ask stuff in here and people will respond. And we also have the Community Guides channel, which this just has like all of the guides pretty much. Abyss Guide, Adventure. This Catalyst one needs to be updated because Catalysts aren't a thing anymore. Specialty changes, pets, what to sell, how to use blooms, currencies, build order, new player progression, and you can see there's like the hunt labyrinth and stuff. Gear guides. So we have everything here and we try to maintain this to keep it updated. So you can also use this channel to check all of the guides that we have. And the guides are also in the new player progression guide as well, of course. So then also in-game, there is the help menu in-game. It's just a question mark button at the top left in a lot of your menus. This has a lot of info. It's kind of an info dump sometimes, but when you open it up, it'll go to whatever your content you're in and you can look through it if you think it'll be helpful. I think the combat guide section is actually kind of useful regardless. It explains a lot of the in-game mechanics for combat, and I think even for some like older players, if you haven't looked through it, you might find something that you didn't know before. Other in-game rating stuff is the hero ratings. This is useless. Don't look at it because people kind of just rate based on vibes, and anybody who tries to talk about like whether a unit's actually good, it's like 9 times out of 10 they have no idea what they're talking about. So if you're looking for actual good advice, you should check out like either ask in the Discord and get a bunch of opinions, or go to like a very like actually like good streamer who knows what they're talking about, which I'll recommend some later. So then you also wonder about the wiki situation, because that's something that people typically look for. Epic 7's wiki situation is not fantastic. We don't really have a actual good wiki. If you look for an Epic 7 wiki, you'll find stuff like Epic 7X or like Epic 7 guides or Epic 7 DB. Those all kind of sucked. I've looked through all of them and the information on there is very questionable. I don't think I can recommend it as a source of information just because of how wrong it is. If you try to follow that, you're going to end up doing some not fantastic things. So I would say just don't trust those, especially Epic 7X. That one is on a different level of bad. The closest thing we have is Cecilia Bot, and if you look at Cecilia Bot, it's like there's no guides yet. That's something that might be added in the future, but what you can do is you have the heroes, and if you want, we can look at Abigail. So here you can see pretty much everything. You can see her base stats, before Awaken, after Awaken, her imprints, and the values. You can see her skills. This is all the full descriptions. And you can see her molas, which these catalysts need to be changed after the update, but you can see their scalings after you enhance them. And this pretty much tells you everything about the character. If they have any sort of extra stuff, it's all here. And then if we go back here, we can also do some stuff like, let's say you want a character with a specific effect, like attack buff, and you also want them to have this debuff. This will show you every character that does both the buff and the debuff. One thing it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you if these buffs are on the self or on allies. Like Elfelt buffs allies with attack buff and then decreases defense. Tenebria decreases defense but then only attack buffs herself, which is a bit different. So stuff like that isn't a feature yet, but this is still really useful just for finding stuff that you need to look for. And besides actual buffs and debuffs, there's some stuff that's not really listed in game, but you can still search for it here. Like these are all units that push the enemy back in some way, shape, or form. You can also search by their type. Like these are all the free units, which I need to update at some point because I think we're getting a couple of more free units. And you can also, of course, sort by their rarity, their class, and their element. So yeah. One big thing too is the search bar. You can search for units' names directly. If I type in Sermia, both of her forms show up. You can also type in nicknames. If I type in this, Montmorency shows up. This is pretty useful, especially when you're new. Like if you're getting hit with like a bunch of nicknames like Harby and Stene, you might have no idea what that is. So you can type it in here and the unit will pop up. Any of the commonly used ones will have been added as nicknames. Also, same thing for artifacts. It's pretty much the same thing. You can sort by their class. You can sort by their rarity. You can sort by names, like nicknames too. SOU for Symbol of Unity is common, so it's a nickname. Yeah, feel free to use this just to either look up stuff while you're not playing or get yourself familiar with some of the nicknames. Then I also have a section here that says YouTube can be outdated, but it's a little bit more complex than that. It's really just that the game changes a decent amount, so you're going to oftentimes find yourself watching stuff that is pretty old and might not be relevant. It might have been released when there weren't better options. It might have had the unit get reworked, so the unit just doesn't work for that content anymore. And sometimes the video is just wrong, which is hard to avoid. So some content creators I would recommend. I would say if you're looking for PvP stuff, Light E7, Elf Mage, KHM, and well, those three for RTA, World Arena, I think are good. And then Envy for Real Arena. His stuff is, well, I guess technically everybody's stuff is pretty high end, but Envy is good for Arena. And then Vicchun for Guild War. And you can also, if you want to spruce up your profile cards, I think Dim Sum is a really good resource. He pretty much always has his entire process of how he makes it on his channel. So yeah, I would say those people are definitely worth checking out. And then, yes, tier lists. People are going to frequently ask for tier lists. And I would say it's kind of hard to do a tier list, especially for PvE, because you have to understand that content in Epic 7 is really, really specific. There's a lot of units that only work in one piece of content, and if they're really good at that piece of content, how good do we say they are? I'm going to take my hand at making a PvE tier list eventually, just because I honestly finished it a while ago. But it's like, it's hard to do tier lists for PvE because you have to think about, okay, well, this character is really good for this, but is it worth summoning for them? What's the drop off to the next unit? Is it even necessary to use this unit? Stuff like that. pretty much every tier list I've seen for PvE has always been really bad. And that's just because there's so many things that go into PvE. For PvP, you can check out the content creators I mentioned. Light very frequently does tier lists, I know. I don't really watch that many content creators. But that's it for the introduction video. Like I said, I will be streaming my new account and making the condensed guide videos for anybody who needs them. And of course, this text guide is in the description as well. So for anybody starting out the game, or for anybody who just wants to watch this for fun, hope you guys have a good time.